Should your first home be a wealth engine or a lifestyle statement?
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
We are excited to welcome you to episode 739 of Life's Inside Track. When I'm Yetta Dekker.
And I'm Ken Dekker.
And it's where we get to share techniques, thoughts, tips, tools, and tactics, and truths, of course, that we all need, we all deserve, you, I, everyone, so we can turn our house into home, our families thrive, and we build wealth wisely through real estate.
Mm-hmm. You know, people think that the first home, they've got this grandiose picture of what it might be or should be. And a lot of that's based on what their parents or their parents' friends are living in or that kind of thing.
Or magazines or advertising. Or the billboards.
Or TV,
right.
You know, the home improvement TV shows and stuff like that. And I think it's important to recognize that although it's kind of accidental wealth, but your first home is the start of your accelerated wealth journey.
Right. And so let's unpack a tiny bit accidental wealth. Mm-hmm. And I think what you're saying is you need a roof over your head anyway. Mm-hmm. You're going to be paying either rent or mortgage, and they're often similar. And if you would go back to some of the other episodes, because there's lots of times we talk about that, the comparison between renting and buying, and why in the long term for most people, owning is a more strategic wealth building and even lifestyle choice for that matter.
Right.
And we can get caught up in waiting for perfection, waiting for the ideal, waiting for that thing that we've been sold a bill of goods that we should be able to have now, rather than maybe our second or third home. Or maybe, how about this? Maybe we never need more than the first home, even if it's not the dream home, because maybe it does everything it needs to do.
Yeah, it's functional. It houses us. It does what we need. You know, we were just talking to somebody very recently that said we were thinking of upgrading our home. We probably could afford a bigger home.
Well, they said we could.
But then our kids are getting to the age where they're going to start to leave, and then the house is the right size again. So do we put up with it? Do we do that delayed? Do we deploy that money somewhere else? Right. Whether that be an investment property or other, mutual funds or TFSAs or RSPs or whatever it is. Because you have a certain amount of money, you can deploy it certain places. The only thing we love about real estate is that seed money we talk about, and that you can redeploy it without actually losing the property you're in. You're still there, you're still benefiting from it, but you're taking that equity, that seed money you initially put in to buy it,
right,
and moving that into a second property.
Right. And what we're really saying here is even if you can't see yourself staying in the house indefinitely, it's not your forever home, better than waiting for perfection in terms of getting the perfect house. We want it to be a sound house. We want it to be a solid house. We want it to be a house that you can manage and live in comfortably. We're not saying buy a dive without a proper foundation or buy a place that's going to be a money pit. That's not the conversation here. And yet our ideals, especially because of all this promotion and marketing and what we see other people have, is that what we can afford isn't really what we want. And so then we wait and wait and wait. And it says, I think people haven't counted the cost high enough that delay is costing you so much more than it sounds like.
Yeah, because time does the heavy lifting when it comes to building wealth at a certain rate of return. The more time you have, the more wealth you build.
Yes.
And, let's turn this thing upside down on its head for a second.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, let's look at, what if instead of looking at what house we would like to live in, what if instead we looked at what house could we buy that eventually we would turn into the rental? So it's our first rental property we're buying first, just we're the ones that are going to be in it. And we can buy that because most investment properties you have to put 20% down. And we're going to talk later around the 5 or 20%, what's the difference, right? But an investment property, you need that 20%. But what if we buy our first house with 5% down, and then 3 to 5 years from now, knowing that that's going to be our first investment property, and we're going to save up some money, excuse me, and put 5% down on our next home, which is going to be our dream home. Or, yeah.
That would be fantastic. And the cool thing is, even if your first property is a duplex or even a triplex, you can actually buy it with 5% down if you're living in it.
I think tri goes to 10%.
Does it?
Yeah,
okay, so 5% of it's a do and 10% of it's a tri.
Yeah.
And so you can buy it with very little money down. And what's fascinating is a lot of duplexes are no more money than a single family home. Depending on where you are and what it is, it may not cost you any more. And so right from the beginning, someone else is paying for part of your mortgage, and you're giving, there is not enough affordable housing in our country. So you're actually, by being a small landlord, you're solving a problem. Absolutely. You're helping solve a problem. I think this whole thought of landlords are greedy. I mean, there's this whole train of thought out there, and yet they solve a problem.
Yeah, they're not greedy. They're business people who want to make a return on their money. So if it costs them $2,000 a month for taxes, insurance, and the mortgage, they'd like to get $2,000 a month, or $2,100. So there's a little bit of margin for them to repair something. That's not greed. That's responsible business.
Right. And so you can do both. I think that's the beautiful thing. We've talked about it in other shows, and it's not something that's focused on enough. Okay. You have to be willing to sacrifice a little bit more. It's not perfect. And what an incredible wealth building tool. Yeah,
for sure. Because even Stats Canada says consistently, it shows that earlier market entry
into the real estate market,
into the real estate world, is the strongest predictor of long-term household net worth growth. Early predictor.
Early. So the sooner you can get in, the better. It's not about delaying until you get everything lined up perfectly. We don't want you to be reckless. We don't want you to buy before you really ought to be buying. So if you're not sure where you sit, you think it's one, but you're not sure, a clarity call would be an amazing thing to do right now. Just go to dekkerteam.com on the website, and you'll find the clarity call button and schedule a clarity call. It's only about 15 minutes. It costs you nothing. And I think the other piece is there's no obligation. We don't say that very often. There's no obligation.
Yeah. And as a listener, I would suggest that you ask yourself, are you thinking about buying for today's image or tomorrow's strength?
Today's image or tomorrow's strength.
Yeah. Grant Cardone says, you don't have to be extreme, just consistent. And we're glad that we're able to be helping you build wealth wisely through real estate, because building wealth is about much, much more than just money.
And next, we're going to look at what are one of those most significant delays of getting into the housing market that is not necessary.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.